Hey folks, Matthew Weiss here, WeissAdvice.com and Weiss Advice here on YouTube, coming to you from The Good Days in Miami, which is my commercial recording facility. Follow us at The Good Days 305 on Instagram. And this is a really, really special episode of Weiss Advice because I am here with, we're going to dig deep into the lore, my guy Megaran. Now, before we get into this, I just need to put a little context out here. When I started as an engineer, and we're talking over 20 years ago, I started with this man right here. He was an aspiring rapper. I was an aspiring engineer, and now he is a Grammy-nominated rap artist, full-time rap career producer, amazing talent, and I am a full-time engineer. So we set out with a dream. We achieved that dream. So it's a deep cut, man.
Pretty crazy to see, man. Like 20 years of hard work, man, just like all coming together. And it's really cool to be here, man. This studio is amazing. It's beautiful. So if you're ever out in 305, I highly recommend it. Come through.
So I want to ask you a couple questions in terms of becoming a full-time artist, making that a career, because I think a lot of the people watching this are going to want to know that. And then I'm going to ask you a few questions about what being in a studio session is like and how it has evolved for you. So something a little bit more on the technical side of things. But let's start with career development. So let's go back 20 years, right? We're over at our friend O'Henny Savant's house, trying to figure out how to make this dream a reality. What do you do what do you do? It's so overwhelming, right?
Very overwhelming.
How do you take your art and start turning that into a career?
I think it takes so many different factors to make that happen. But I think most importantly, we just had a lot of guys that were on the same page. Like folks who all had the same goal of just making the best art possible. And so being in a room with people who constantly motivated you to up your game, whether it was writing rhymes, whether it was making beats, whether it was mixing or recording, like there were skilled folks who wanted to be better, you know, and that's really what it was. It was iron sharpening iron in there. And just being so young, you know, I would come straight from work. I'd work way in the Northeast and come all the way to West Philly right after work and just stay there until they kicked us out, basically. Yep. And then I'd go home and we'd come back and do it again the next day. And it was just a constant addiction to that energy. You know, it's like, man, you just want to be around creative folks. And just when you find your tribe, so to speak, that are folks who all want to create something, who want to just make something that's bigger than themselves, you know, whether it's collectively or individually, but just want to make something and put it out into the world. And that's really where it starts. It starts with a group of folks who believe in the dream.
One might even say that teamwork makes the dream work.
I was trying to avoid that.
It's true, though.
It's very true.
When we started out, everybody, I mean, O has become very successful. O'Henny has become very successful in his own right. You're very successful. I've become very successful. It's really, you can't do it as one person, right? It has to be people who are dedicated to specific roles. It really only could have gone smoother if there was somebody there who was like as passionate about being a music manager as you were passionate about being a rap artist and I was passionate about being an engineer.
Correct. I got the best advice from O and coming out of those sessions where, you know, at first when you're young and kind of cocky and, you know, strong and bullheaded and determined to do it your own way, when you run into a team, you got to learn how to play the team game. And I felt like I had difficulty playing the team game. And I was told, I think you'd be a better boss than employee. And I think that was the best advice I could have gotten at that time. But I didn't know what that meant. I wasn't ready to be a boss. But yeah, it got me started on the idea and the process of that. Yes, you can be your own boss. And if you want to dictate your schedule, you want to dictate your releases, you want to dictate how you create things, then you should certainly move into a position of ownership to do that. And so, we're just thinking about being the talent. And everybody thinks about being the talent, but it takes so many other pieces to make this machine go. You know, it's like everybody just can't be the talent. So you got to find folks who want to play different roles and positions to make that happen. Or if you're a self-starter and a self-motivated cat, just do it yourself, you know, until you find a team that does it. But, you know, and that's kind of what I did. I did it myself for a long time. And then luckily I was able to run into more folks who were who agreed and understood, and we're on the same page with the dream. So me and you never lost touch. We just continued to work. I'd be like, hey man, I'm working on this thing. I'm in Arizona now. You're like, I'm in Boston now, and all these other places. But yet we managed to always make it work, to come together to collaborate for the greater good.
I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that because, it's very easy to get caught up in this idea of I'm going to do it by myself, because we do all want to do things our own way. I'm no different than anybody else. I could be headstrong and everything like that. But through the years, a lot of my personal success can be directly attributed to you bringing in, you're out there, you're on the road, you're meeting other rap artists. So a lot of my early credits came from you collaborating with other artists who were more well known at the time, and then bringing that to me to do the engineering.
Nice.
I do think, however, though, that the opposite side of the sword can be a little dangerous, right? Because you know how to produce, you know how to mix, you know how to record, to varying degrees, of course.
Yeah.
When do you find yourself saying, maybe I need to back away from something and let somebody else take charge of this moment?
Oh, it's easy. It's when I hear your mixes, when I hear K Murdoch's beats. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm just a hobbyist at this. When I see DN3 DJ, then I realize yes, I can be a jack of all trades, but the saying, master of none. And so I really wanted to focus on what I thought I was best at, whether it was songwriting, recording, rapping, singing, or attempting to sing, and things like that. And so I focused on my things, and I let the people who did them well do them. And I think it came down to when I heard your mixes, like I said, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is another level. And I heard beats from really talented people. I'm like, oh, you gotta bring the team together.
But I think the part of that, though, that's important to recognize is if I go back to my work during those earlier time periods and I look at my work now, they don't compare. You know what I mean? Like, I've evolved so much and grown so much. The fact is I was just trying to stay competitive and ahead of everybody else in the squad. As long as I was the best one and matched everyone else's determination, then that's what it took. And none of this happened overnight, right? So it was what? When was your first big record?
I mean, I don't know, like there's been so many like flashes and sparks that have kind of let this thing to go.
Yeah, there's not really like one specific
I
moment.
think Random RNDM, I feel like was a kind of a coming out moment to me. And even then it was 10 years into my career. You know what I mean? But it was the record that I believed in as far as the mix quality, the production quality, the songwriting quality. And so therefore I invested other funds into promoting it. And that was the first record that I really put money into promotions. And then we saw, good benefits from that.
We have an interesting story about this one. Tell me if you remember this. So we're gonna get into the controversies. So there were two records that came out at the same time, basically. One was called Soul Veggies,
yes,
and the other one was RNDM.
Yes.
And the one that you actually had first was RNDM.
Correct.
And you wanted to bring that to a label.
Correct.
And somebody talked you out of doing that. As I recall it, I believe, I said, maybe we shouldn't put this on the label because you showed me the terms that you had been offered.
Yeah.
And I said, I believe in you more than I believe in these terms.
Yeah.
And more than I believe in this label.
I remember that.
I proposed that we do a collaboration project and put that to the label and see how that goes first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd say it did what it was supposed to do. I still get people hitting me up about Soul Veggies, man, and like a follow-up and things like that. And maybe one day our life will send us in that direction again. But it was just a fun record, man. I had a blast putting it together. And we did a release party in Boston. And it was like a torrential snowstorm.
Yeah.
And it was just like so many stories connected to that. But that label, without putting too many names into it, because we still owe them money.
Don't stop.
No, I'm just joking. No. Just joking. No. They pay us a few cents a month, so it's fine. But yeah,
Where's my check?
it's in the mail. It's in the mail.
All right, you owe me like 7 cents, bro.
Probably, yeah. So working with this label was really fun. It was my first experience, like putting pen to page and like being like, man, I'm signed. Let's go. And they even kind of admitted it was like they really didn't know what to do with what we did. You know, it's like, it's a weird kind of rap album. I'm this nerd guy, but I can't give them nerdy like video game samples because we'll get sued. So we're like, no, we're making an all original record. They're like, no video games, no samples. I'm like, nope. You know, and so having to put out that, no one really knew what to do with it. But it was a great experience putting that together. And, you know, we used to diss record labels before any record label even sniffed at us.
The imaginary record label that could not
like,
possibly.
The man, I'll never sign with you. You know, we would write those raps all day long. And it's the same thing about the Grammys and things like that. Like we would write about these worlds that we were never in and weren't frankly invited to be in, but we were just like, we'll never sell out, you know. And that was just a fun exercise in hip hop. It's like you almost had to do that. But yeah, that experience like taught me a lot. And they told me, and I don't want to mention any names, but they told me, we will promote this record until our next artist is ready to drop. And I know who the next artist is, and I'm a very big fan of that next artist. And I don't even know if you remember.
I do.
But they were like, when this next thing comes, get out of the way, basically, is what they told us. And to be fair, this thing worked out. But yeah, it was like, we got you for 6 months. And then that thing's going to happen, and then we ain't got you so much. And so it wasn't really a great feeling to have coming out of that situation, but it worked out. And we fast forward, we wind up collaborating with these same people. So it's like it all just came together the way it was supposed to. This is the ultimate 20-year overnight success story.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Where people
Best
like
new artist.
Yeah, that would be me, man. I'll be the 50-year-old best new artist.
There you go.
Like it's pretty insane to think about it, man. But like but this journey, like every piece of it has taught me something, you know, and mostly like perseverance. You know what I mean? Like just not giving up and keeping on going. And you had high hopes for our NDM and high expectations, and so did I. And I'm really glad we did it our way, you know, and then putting it out later on in the year really led to some positive growth.
It's one of those occasions where I'm really glad I my instinct was right, because I could have been very wrong. And like it was a very egotistical and you know, headstrong move, as I said, could be headstrong too, to say, don't do this one through the label because I think that you can do it on your own better. And then for you to actually listen to me also was sort of amazing, because I'm pretty sure you rolled the dice on that too.
I did. I rolled the dice, but I trust you. You know, we've been working together for so long. And also, if I didn't love the record we created, then I'd be like, oh, I don't know. But I really loved it.
No, it's a great album.
And we took a chance releasing 2 big records in a year. You know what I mean? And I think the dice roll definitely paid off. You know, I wound up basically touring the world after that. And we would still come together to make really cool records. And it's been a fun run.
So this channel is mostly for producers and engineers. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions about that before we wrap.
Cool.
When do you know that, let's say you send me a record, I do the mix, I send it back to you. How do you know I did it right?
Well, what I used to do was try to compare it to other records I really loved. So I would sit it down next to an album or a track that I've really been obsessed with. And then I would pick out what I liked about it. And I would try to come up with as many like adjectives, you know, even if I didn't know technical terms. I'd be like, all right, here are things that I feel. Here are some descriptors. And that's what I want to feel out of my records, you know. And I've been in a situation where as a vocalist, I hate my voice. Maybe most vocalists do too. I don't know. So if you can make my voice get to the point where I don't hate it, then I'm loving it. So that's usually where my like criteria starts. But yeah, I'm always like, it's weird. I can't properly judge my own work. So I can only judge it when it's next to something that has been, you know, through its rigors and come out commercially. So I'm like, if I can sit this next to each other in a mix, I love creating mixtapes and things. And so I'll sit my favorite songs 3 in a row and then slip one of mine in and make sure that it's, you know, it's sounding at the level to me. And so then I write down what I liked about those other releases and I check off as many boxes as I can. And I will say, like, very few get like 99 out of 100. But you get darn near 99 out of 100, if not better, most times when I draw that comparison. I'm like, oh, this is checking all the boxes. Or oftentimes you'll do something better where I'm just like, oh, man, like this is even punchier than that. Like, this is great, you know? So that's really what it is for me, is just trying to come up with, get a sound out of the people around me that is on the level. You know what I mean? And that's always been, I hate that it's always been like a comparison kind of thing for me, but like, that's kind of what it is. And I feel like when I even released music, I knew it was time for me to move like into taking it seriously when I would look on the charts and see Lil Wayne next to me or Kanye next to me or Gangstar or other, people that I grew up listening to next to me on the charts. That's when I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like when RNDM is like next to Run the Jewels, I was like, okay, like now I kind of know we belong. Like we're in these same conversations. Someone who listened to this directly after and thought it belonged. So, we're always looking for a little bit of that validation.
I agree. I would say maybe even more than a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question then is, what do you do in the studio now to get better results or perhaps more efficient results than what you were doing earlier on?
Oh, I kick everybody out. I go alone. That's what I do.
No entourage?
No entourage. Legend of Zelda, they say it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. And he holds up the sword. Do. So for me, it's just me and the engineer and a mic and a big bottle of water. And I get to work, man. Like, I can't have any distractions. Sometimes I cut my phone into airplane mode. Like, I'm just like, zero distractions. This is time for business. It's time for work. And this is why I prefer coming out into a commercial studio space rather than working at home, because too many distractions. I'm like, oh, I could just get on the internet. I could play a video game. It's right there. I can get on the phone. I'm reading every text message. I'm just like, I find myself so distracted when I'm at home. And when I used to live in a really small apartment and do a lot of my mixing and work, rolling over from bed to the console is like almost the most like soul crushing position to be in, because you have no separation between like your work life balance is shot. So it's like, yeah, you literally roll over and knock your mouse down and you're like, all right, well, this is a problem. You need more space. And so now the space for me is outside of the house. So I'm really lucky being able to work with Felix, where I can just step out, work with him, and it's like a work shift. We go in.
Shout out to Felix Gamarano.
Hey, my guy Felix.
One of the dopest recording and mix engineers in the game.
Hey, that's
and Grammy nominated for.
Also Grammy nominated for Everybody's Magic Treehouse.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just seeing him get better over the years, and too, like the reps have really like pushed both of us to where like he often marvels about how efficient I am in the studio now. He's like, oh my gosh, like the last 15 minutes of every studio session, I'm like, let's get one more joint done. And he's like, all right. And, it's just maybe a freestyle or something like, some content related stuff. But like it always comes out at just as great of a quality as what we've been working on the whole time. And I think that learning how to maximize time is the number one difference. Back in the day, it was like, let's just hang out with the homies and have fun. And now it's about making the most of the time and creating something that you're absolutely proud of. And so I have to now eliminate distractions. Like this has to be my fully tunnel vision focused moments when I'm in the studio. And I think the work has become better in this case. I feel like there's a lot of filler in my old stuff. I was like, all right, making these 18-track albums, and it's like, that's not necessary. You know what I mean? So I found myself just recording for recording's sake and trying to just, overdo it. And now I've learned how to say a whole lot more with a whole lot less.
I think that growth and that focus has shown in the fact that, hey, here's the plug. Buddy's Magic Treehouse, your latest album, is Grammy nominated, and I think it's going to win.
Hey.
So we're going to have to check that out on iTunes, which it's now in Dolby Atmos, thanks to yours truly, which means I'm Grammy nominated too.
Let's go.
So let's give all the credentials here. Where can they find your music? Where can they find you on Instagram? Where they can find you on whatever other socials you're using? Tell them what to look for.
Oh yeah, well I'm Mega Ran everywhere, but on Instagram it's Mega_Ran. There was a girl named Megan who stole my name. We've been talking for years, but she won't let it go. I'm
Darn you, Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan. It looks like Meg Ryan when you push it really closely, but it's not. It's Mega Ran. MegaRan.com has all the information about all my new projects. I'm always touring. I don't know when this is coming out, but I bet there's a show happening right after this, whenever this hits the internet, because I'm always doing stuff.
Probably next week.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something happening next week. Check your schedule. Spotify, I think, is great because now they tell you like when a person is performing near you, if you just hit that follow button once you open it up. And I'm on all the socials, the Instas, the X, unfortunately, still hanging around there. And also you can text Mega to 47474. And that'll put you right on my text blast mailing list where I won't spam you too much, but just once a month.
How did you struggle to remember that 47474? Like,
Yeah.
literally, you
I
can't.
wasn't sure if it was 47447 or 47474.
Okay,
You know what I
I
mean?
could see keep going.
I think it's 5 digits. Yeah.
All right, so all that's going to be in the description below. Let's do the sign off here. So if you dig this video, well, actually, first of all, sorry, I'm not used to doing interviews like this. Thank you, Rand, for stopping
Of course.
by.
Thank you for having me.
For hanging with me for over 20 years when we were kids. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so if you dig this video, hit that like button if you want to catch more videos like this. Hit subscribe with the bell notification so you get notified. And lastly, you know what we say here at Weiss Advice. We are musicians, sound is our instrument, and I will catch you next time.